Welcome to Season 4 of Business Basics. You're on the mic with Dr. Ace, the Global Mentor Coach. This podcast is dedicated to helping you grow your business. I hope you've been enjoying the reboot of my podcast and have learned some valuable information. Sometimes the best way to learn is by seeing what not to do. This season, we're revisiting more episodes from the past while learning some key business basics. In this episode, we're going to learn from Southwest Airlines because they're managing their business properly. They have a solid plan for long-term growth and a cash reserve for emergencies. Take a listen. And welcome back to another episode of Business Basics. You're on the mic with Dr. Ace, the Global Mentor Coach. And today I'm just going to get right into it. There is so much going on amid this global pandemic of COVID-19. And today I want to get into this airline bailout. Part of the $2 trillion economic stimulus. The airlines will get $25 billion. The government is still negotiating terms and a lot of different conditions. At the end of it, the government will eventually own, a stake in the airline industry, but the airline industry will also have to pay back 30%. Now, 30% of $25 billion is $7.5 billion. Y'all, Southwest has $4 billion in cash reserves. I'm talking about this because as someone with a hospitality background, it burns me that the airline industry is even getting a bailout, because if Southwest can have $4 billion in cash reserve, what were the other airlines doing? What were they doing? What they were doing, instead of building up a cash reserve so that they can continue to pay their employees and stay afloat amid this pandemic, they were paying themselves, meaning their CEOs, their executives, they were paying themselves in bonuses. So this is what happens when you don't manage your business properly and your finances. Okay, so now they're looking for a $54 billion payout package. The government has agreed to $25 billion, where they have to pay 30% back, which means that's $7.5 billion. We can bail out the airline industry, but we can't help out the U.S. Postal Service, which is an actual service to the country. So in 3 months, we probably won't be able to get mail. But an industry that has had the ability to have cash on hand, cash reserves, but chose not to because they chose greed over having a full valuable plan for a future, because we think somehow that, oh my God, this could never possibly happen. And now it's happened. The fit has hit the shan and we need a bailout from the government. Meanwhile, Southwest has $4 billion in cash on hand and $654 million of debt obligations. $654 million out of $4 billion, that's nothing. That's still enough money, because you're going to have some debt, and especially as an airline. That's excellent. Just saying, financially, Southwest got it. They got it. You don't have to like them, but they got this in the bag. Okay. Stocks are declining. Everybody's stock is declining. I don't care what you say. Everybody's stock is declining. It's been declining, because of the situation, supply, demand. If you don't understand basic supply and demand, you need to go and research that. But when it comes to being able to have cash on hand, though, it's very interesting to me that the whole airline industry will have to pay back the government $7.5 billion, and Southwest is sitting on $4 billion in operating cash flow. That tells me that it's possible you can do it. To me, when you want to look at leadership when it comes to the airline industry, you need to be looking at Southwest. I don't know what else to tell you other than that. You really need to be looking at their leadership and how they manage things. Okay. It's just amazing. There are travel advisories restricting domestic travel. In 2019, Southwest generated $22.4 billion in revenues and $4 billion of operating cash flow. And I'm looking at a Forbes article from March 18th of this year. And so you can't tell me it's not possible. It's not, you can't tell me it's not possible. Southwest has $1 billion of debt and operating lease obligations. So if you talk about, okay, yeah, I said earlier, they have $654 million of debt obligation, but that did not include their lease obligations. So if you add their lease obligations, they're up to $1 billion. That's still $3 billion in cash reserves. You don't think they can afford to pay their employees for another 6 months? Abso-freaking-lutely, and they'll still have money. Want to know why? Because rather than turning stock options and all that stuff to pay their executives these elaborate bonuses, they are actually having cash on hand for a situation just like this. So, do I agree with the bailout? Absolutely not. Why? Because Southwest has shown that it can be done. Period. Point blank. There it is. I've seen articles where there are other companies in Europe, I believe I read this, I think it was last week or either earlier part of this week, where some executives from companies in Europe are not taking a salary for the next 3 to 6 months so they can pay their employees. You know what that tells me? These people have managed their finances. They are fiscally responsible, not just to the company, but to themselves and their family. Because if you as an executive can afford to not take a salary for the next couple of months just so that you can pay your people, that's speaking volumes to me. That says that you know how to manage your personal finances and make sure your family is taken care of, but you're also taking care of the families of your employees. They may not get their regular salary or whatever, but they're gonna get something. And that's important. I find it very disappointing that Marriott is not taking care of their employees. Why am I saying that? I used to be an avid Marriott person. My friends will tell you that when I got out of college, I was Miss Marriott. You can tell me nothing, okay? But to hear that Marriott is not, they're playing a game. They're preventing their employees from collecting unemployment, because if you are not furloughed or laid off, you cannot get unemployment. So what they're telling employees, and they're telling people when they get the call from the unemployment office, because they're going to call and verify, they're saying, nope, the employees are not laid off. They are not furloughed. They're just on a 0-hour schedule. That is unacceptable, because that speaks volumes to me. That tells me you don't care about me. You're leaving me stuck in a lurch. People don't understand. Let me help y'all understand something about unemployment. Companies pay unemployment insurance, okay? If you're in business and you're not paying unemployment insurance, I don't know what to tell you, but you should be paying unemployment insurance. The other thing is, when people file unemployment, I don't care if you have your if you're a temp agency or whatever, yes, it goes against your rating as an employer. But here's the thing, folks already know that the hospitality industry has a high turnover, number one. Number two, this is a global pandemic. So if anything, people filing unemployment right now is really not going to hit your credit rating as a business, because everybody all over the world is impacted by this. So to have the unmitigated gall to not take care of your employees by saying we're going to prevent them basically from filing unemployment and saying they're on a 0-hour work schedule, so you're keeping them, quote, technically employed, you're just giving them 0 hours. How does that help them? Because as an employee, I would feel completely demotivated and trash. But I will tell you, if you're listening to this, even if you don't have a business, don't quit your job. Because if you quit, you definitely can't collect unemployment. But this would make me not want to work for the company. I would think very differently about them. And it speaks volumes to me, because this is not the vision or the leadership of Marriott that I knew when I came out of college and I started working for them. This is not the leadership that I read about, that I believed in when I was a Marriott employee. And I believe that the founders, their leadership, they would be appalled at this decision. Because but that's the point of having unemployment insurance, to be able to take care of your employees so that they get something. It ain't going to be their regular salary, but something is better than nothing in a time of crisis, because that $1,200 economic stimulus check is not going to go far when people are already a good 6 months behind in their bills. By the time this is over, And they're talking about, it might be 2021, 2022 by the time we can really start getting out and stopping this physical distancing thing. So as a business owner, you owe it to your employees to take care of them. Find resources. People are literally committing suicide. They are committing homicide and suicide. They are killing their family members, even the dogs, the pets, and then themselves because they're not coping very well. Listen, you have got to provide as a business owner, because this is what employees are going to remember in a time of crisis. Who took care of me? Who provided resources for me? I don't care if you just circulate a list of food distribution sites. Here's where you can go and get food for your family. Here's where you can go and get mental health support. Here's where you can go and get counseling. Here's where you can go and get XYZ. Here are some activities you can do with your family while you're practicing physical distancing and you're in quarantine. Here's what you can, these are things that, and this is what people remember. This is what your employees will remember. I would even dare share it with your vendors. Why? Because that's your community. That's your community. And we win when we all come together and we address what's happening and we support one another. That's how we win. That's how we get through this. So I just want to encourage you as a business owner, take care of your employees. You pay unemployment insurance for a reason. Let these people draw unemployment. And during this time, get you some training. The SBA SCORE, they are offering a lot of free online workshops right now that are teaching you how to manage your business, how to market and promote your business virtually amidst this COVID-19 crisis we have going on, all kinds of stuff that's happening. But please take advantage of that so that you are properly managing your finances so that when an emergency situation happens, you have cash on hand. You have cash reserves. You may not have what big corporations like Southwest Airlines has, but you want to have enough cash reserves so that even if you can afford to pay your employees for 1 month, that's better than nothing, because some people can't even do that. So I just want to leave you with that. I want to encourage you, just understand this, you're not alone. You can make it. Here's a good testimony. A previous episode I talked about mobilizing your business, finding another way. There is a company up here in Boynton. They are a liquor supplier manufacturer. They have empty trucks sitting. Remember I said, if you got empty trucks, find a way to use them. And guess what they're doing? They're using them to pick up groceries for people and delivery. So now they're a grocery delivery service. You got to figure out how to shift and adjust. I'm not just blowing smoke here, people. I'm giving you real tips and advice on how to survive out here in COVID-19. Trust me. Find a way to mobilize your business. Get it going in the right direction. You'll get through this. We will get through this together when we remember that we are human beings. And when we treat each other like human beings, that's when we win. Love you guys so very much. Remember to spread lots of love and light. You've been on the mic with Dr. H, the Global Mentor Coach. This has been another episode of Business Basics. What do we learn from this? If you manage your business properly, you won't need a bailout. When you go into business, you need to have a plan in your business for emergency situations. Don't be so greedy to line your pockets that you don't have a long-term plan for disasters. Now, concerning the recording, the growth is amazing. And yes, I'm tooting my own horn. Listening to all my episodes from day one has me nearly in tears because all the mistakes I made in the beginning are almost non-existent in this episode because I was prepared. I sound like I know what I'm talking about. My voice isn't fluctuating either. The issue with this episode is, like others, all the breaths and smacks. I have a few ums here and there, and that can easily be rectified with a simple edit. All in all, get into the passion in this episode. There's passion from beginning to end. Thanks for listening to another episode of Business Basics. This season's episodes continue to build on previous seasons to teach some business fundamentals to help you define and strengthen your brand while learning from my podcasting mistakes from day one.
Go ahead and like and share this episode. Spread the word about business basics. I sincerely appreciate your support and your listening ear. If there are topics you'd like me to cover, or if you need a business coach, email me at info@globalmentorcoach.com. Thanks so much for tuning in with me, Dr. Race, the Global Mentor Coach. Remember to spread lots of love and light. Until next time.